And in more breaking news updates coming in, the ICC, which is the International Criminal Court, has issued arrest warrant against Netanyahu over what it says war crimes by Israel. So an arrest warrant that's been issued against Netanyahu, but a statement now coming in from the Israeli Prime Minister, who brands it as a modern Dreyfus trial, saying that this is an anti-Semitic move and condemning that arrest warrant that's been issued by the International Criminal Court against him. This after the International Criminal Court said that it found reasonable grounds to believe that Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant internationally targeted civilians and limited medical supplies, leading to worsening of humanitarian crisis in conflict zone Gaza. So Benjamin Netanyahu, who's been accused of war crimes, crimes against humanity in the Gaza conflict zone. Statement also coming in from the US that has bagged Netanyahu and has outrightly rejected that criminal warrant, arrest warrant that's been issued against the Israeli Prime Minister. Listen in to those statements coming in from Netanyahu.
The anti-Semitic decision of the International Court in The Hague is a modern Dreyfus trial, and it will end the same way. 130 years ago, the French Jewish officer Alfred Dreyfus was falsely accused of treason by a biased French court. In response to these false accusations, the great French writer Émile Zola wrote his monumental essay, J'accuse. He accused the French court of anti-Semitic lies against an innocent officer who was later exonerated of all guilt. Now an international court in The Hague, also headed by a French judge, is repeating this outrageous offense. It is falsely accusing me, the democratically elected Prime Minister of the State of Israel, and Israel's former Defense Minister, Yoav Gallant, of deliberately targeting civilians. This when we do everything in our power to avoid civilian casualties. We issue millions of text messages, phone calls, leaflets to the citizens of Gaza to get them out of harm's way, while the Hamas terrorists do everything in their power to keep them in harm's way, including shooting them, using them as human shields. The court in The Hague accuses us of a deliberate policy of starvation. This when we've supplied Gaza with 700,000 tons of food to feed the people of Gaza. That's 3,200 calories for every man, woman, and child in Gaza. And these supplies are routinely looted by Hamas terrorists who deprive their people of much-needed food. Yet just in the last few weeks, Israel facilitated the vaccination of 97% of the people of Gaza against polio. This doesn't prevent the court of accusing us of genocide. What in God's name are they talking about in The Hague?
And just a quick recap of what the International Criminal Court has said. It has essentially issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, his former defense minister as well, and Hamas officials. This as the ICC maintains that there have been war crimes committed on part of Israeli government. Take a look at this detailed report.
After the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense minister Yoav Gallant. Denouncing the move, Israel was quick to reject the warrant in a statement issued by Netanyahu's office. Meanwhile, Jordan's foreign minister Ayman Safadi, on the other hand, asserted that the move to issue the warrants must be respected and implemented.
المحكمة الجنائية الدولية يجب أن تحترم ويجب أن تنفذ. هذه مؤسسة دولية ثمة التزام باحترام قراراتها من كل الدول الأعضاء فيها، والدول الأعضاء في المحكمة هم 124 دولة، وبالتالي كل هذه الدول ملزمة باحترام هذا القرار. الشعب الفلسطيني يستحق العدالة. المؤسسات القانونية وجدت لتحاسب ولتلبي متطلبات العدالة، وبالتالي لابد من التعامل مع هذا القرار باحترام.
EU Foreign Policy Chief Joseph Borrell too continued in the chorus.
As I said before, the tragedy in Gaza has to stop. And now I will be very sober in my comment. It is not a political decision. It is a decision of a court. of a court of justice, of the International Court of Justice. And the decision of the court has to be respected and implemented. So I take note of the decision of the International Criminal Court to issue arrest warrants from Prime Minister Netanyahu, the former Minister of Defense, Mr. Gallant, and the Hamas leaders, Dave.
The International Criminal Court is accusing Netanyahu and Gallant and the Hamas officials of war crimes and crimes against humanity over the war in Gaza.
Now, after Benjamin Netanyahu, it's the US Pentagon that has denounced a warrant issued by the International Criminal Court against the Israeli Prime Minister. So, US rallying behind Netanyahu after the ICC, the International Criminal Court, accused Netanyahu of committing war crimes in Gaza. Listen in to that statement that's coming in from the Pentagon official who's expressed concerns over the escalation in the conflict in the Middle East, further rallying behind Netanyahu after that warrant was issued against the Israeli Prime Minister.
I can confirm that Russia did launch an experimental intermediate-range ballistic missile. This IRBM was based on Russia's RS-26 Rubezh intercontinental ballistic missile model. In terms of notifications to the United States was pre-notified briefly before the launch through nuclear risk reduction channels. I can confirm that Russia did launch.
So that is a statement coming in from the US expressing concerns over the arrest warrant that's been issued by the ICC, which is the International Criminal Court of Justice. In fact, Israel has been Israeli Prime Minister has also rejected the warrant, terming it as an anti-Semitic move by the International Criminal Court.